Hello, Sudoku friends, and welcome to today's New York Times Hard Sudoku. Today is December 17, 2022. I don't expect it to be very difficult because the New York Times Hard Sudokus rarely are. There aren't really many singles to be found here. It doesn't strike me as a normal New York Times puzzle. Except for, yes, the usual trick. Look here, we got the 1 and the 4 here, and we happen to have two empty cells in this column, and they need to have a 1 and a 4 in them. So this being a 4 makes this a 1, and this is a 4, and now we're off to a start. These two 4s and this 4 puts a 4 in this cell here. And these three cells now have to be a 2, 6, and a 9. And 8 will have to go here or here because of the 8 here. And let's see what else we can find. The 8 here and the 8 here will force eventually an 8 to go here or here. Let's see. The 3 here will force a 3 to go in one of these three cells and therefore in this cell or in this cell. Ah, that's sneaky. Now one of these two cells will have to be a 3 as well, won't it? Because a 3 here or here still leaves us to find a 3 for row 2. And since it won't be able to go here or here, and it can't go here because of this 3, this is now a 3 and an 8 pair. That's nice. And that would make this a 5 or a 7, and this as well a 5 or a 7. What's more important though is that if these are 8 and 3s, what are these three going to be? They have to be a 2, 5, or a 9. Now there is a 5 here, so this can only be a 2 or a 9. This is an 8 or a 3, so a 5 will have to go in one of these two cells. And here is an easy number. I'm sure that you have figured it out already. It must be a 7, won't it? Because for column 1, we still need to find a 2, 3, 5, 7, and an 8. We have a 2, 3, 5, and an 8 already blocking this cell, which therefore must be a 7. And we can find a 1, I think, for this cell because the bottom row needs to find a 1, 4, 6, and a 9. There's a 6, 4, and a 9 here blocking this cell. Therefore, it must be a 1. Now the 1 here and the 1 here and this 1 puts a 1 here. And therefore, this cell must be a 1. Now we got the 1 blocking these three cells. We've got this 1 blocking these two cells and this 1 blocking these three cells, making this a 1. Now one of these two cells will have to be a 1, as will one of these two cells, because of the 1 up here. A 3, 5, and a 9 for this column. There's a 3 and a 9 blocking this cell, therefore it must be a 5. This is now a 3 or a 9, and this is a 3 or a 9. So in addition to the 8 that it needs to go in one of these two cells, the 3 here now also makes the other cell a 3. So we have a 3 and an 8 going on here. We also have a 3 and an 8 going on here. That's nice if we can use it for something. Yes, we can, of course, because if there's a 3 here and a ghost 3 here, this cell up here must be a 3, and that makes this one an automatic 9, and this one a 9 because of the two 9s here. This is now a 4 or a 6, and this is a 4 or a 6. But I was looking at this box here, and since these two have to be a 3 and an 8, that makes these two a 7 and a 5. And that, I think, makes this a 5. Because if one of these has to be a 5, then one of these has to be a 5, right? But we need to find a 5 for this row 2. This cell cannot be a 5 because of this 5. These two cells are blocked by ghost 3 and 8. And because of the ghost 5 here, this cell cannot be a 5. Therefore, it must go here. And because of the 3, 8 here, we now are left with a 2, 9 for this cell and a 2, 9 for this cell, except it can't be a 9 because there's this 9 in the column already. So this must be a 2 and this must be a 9. These two now must be a 2 and a 6. I think we still need to find one 9, and it must go here because of the 9 here and here blocking these two cells and these two cells. And the 9 here blocks all of these 3 cells. So this is a 9, and that is, I think, the last 9 of the puzzle. No, it's not. The 9 here and the 9 here and the 9 here force a 9 up here. And that definitely must be the last of the puzzle. Now we need to find a 4 and a 6 for these two cells. And it's got to be a 4 because of the 4 here and here. This is now a 6, and that makes this one a 4. These two were a 7, 5, remember? That makes this a 1 and a 6. And there is a 6 in this row, so that's easy. A 1 goes here, and the 6 goes here. And now this 1 and this 1 and the 1 here makes this a 1. And let's see, this 6 and this 6 puts a 6 here. And this 4 blocks this cell. Therefore, this must be a 4, making this an 8. And we had an 8 and a 3 up here, didn't we? The 8 here now puts a 3 in this cell and an 8 here. This is looking very nice. These are still 5 and 7. They'll have to keep, I think. 3 and 8 here. 2, 4 and 7 here. There's a 7 here and here, making this a 7. There's a 2 here, making this a 4, and this a 2. Now the 4 here and here puts a 4 in this cell because of the 4 blocking this one, right? So this is a 4. And now this must be a 2. This 2 blocks these 3 cells. This 2 blocks this cell. So this is where the 2 goes for row 6. And this 2 now and this 2 and this 2 puts a 2 up here. Let's see. A 3 and a 7 for these two cells. There's a 3 already in the column. So this is a 7 and this must be a 3. And now we find the 7 and a 5 solution up here. This must be the 7 and therefore this must be the 5. The 5 here and here and here puts a 5 in this cell and therefore in this down here. These two now have to be an 8 and a 3. Well, there's a 3 here blocking these 3 cells. That makes this a 3, and therefore this cannot be a 3. The 3 must go here, and the 8 therefore here. This is now going to be an 8 or a 2, and it can't be a 2 because of this 2. So it must be an 8, and the 2 therefore goes here. And with this 8, we have found the 8-3 solution for this column. These now have to be a 7 and an 8. There's an 8 in the column. So this is a 7, this is an 8. These two now have to be a 6 and a 7. Okay. And these have to be a 7 and a 5. Okay. So let's deal with this one up here first, shall we? This is going to be a 6, and this therefore must be a 2. The last cell here must be 6, and that gives us a 6 here, the 7 here, the 7 here, the 5 here, and the 5 here. And this one, therefore, must be a 3. It looked a little difficult at the start, but once we found the initial 1, 4 for column 9, this puzzle sort of solved itself. It was fun though, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. Please come back for more soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.